financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is Chapter 13, Solving Your Debt Problem. Brian Small, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. A pleasure to be here. And Chapter 13, that sounds like it's right up my alley to talk about today.
I guess we'll include you in the conversation. Jeff Linden, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. What I want to know is how come they don't name the chapters like they do hotel floors and just skip 13 altogether?
Well, in this
It is
case,
an interesting question. Why did they
13
pick
is a
13?
lucky number.
For whom?
For the
Bankruptcy
people
lawyer?
that utilize Chapter 13 because it helps save homes and save cars.
One thing for
and
sure,
get rid of
Brian
debt.
is going to be part of the conversation today. Good morning, Pat Simasco.
I got another question for you guys. As families are walking into the Chapter 13, how many families is because of weddings that the dad's got to pay for?
That's
Something
funny,
going
Pat.
on, Pat?
That's funny,
It's
Pat.
a contributing factor, I think, to credit card debt because a lot of those, in a lot of circumstances, the wedding probably taps out the credit card.
I think that
Well, my
the
daughter is
answer,
getting to the point of thinking about getting married, and Dad, you know it's in the back of your mind. You don't really think about it. It's like you a lot of times you can't even have legitimate, real conversation because the emotions get involved and
I've gone
everybody
down
gets
that
a-
train twice.
Yeah, how'd it work out?
Fine.
You're still here.
Worked out okay. I mean, it's, time takes care of everything.
Any advice for our listeners out there when they're
Well,
confronted
this is
with
an old
those?
one. We actually covered it on the show years and years ago. And when my second daughter got married, on the show, I don't remember who asked. She said, well, Ken, who's going to pay for the wedding? Is this going to be the traditional wedding where the father of the bride pays for everything? And I said, I don't think so. I said, my future in-laws of the kids are great people, and I'm sure he's going to be willing to go 50-50 with me. And they were listening.
Oh, good. Good.
And I got a call later that day, and he said, I listened to the show, and I'm in. So
Great.
for that, and if he's listening today, Steve,
Amen.
years later, 3 grandkids from this marriage, I still appreciate the fact
You know,
that he did that.
and that's interesting because we're writing an article today for one of the publications, and they asked the question, how do you plan to care for your parents, right? How does a kid pay for their parents' care? And then you got how do you pay for the weddings? And then how do you plan for your own retirement, right? And the
Well,
reason
there's
that you're
there's
paying
the
for
lottery.
the parents, the reason you're paying for the parents is the parents paid for your wedding. They weren't saving for the retirement. So
Part
it's
of
an
it.
interesting.
I mean, I've kind of experienced it. I mean, if you can adopt a disciplined approach to savings where you're putting away, you're maxing your 401k and putting away 5 or 10% of your disposable income every year, no matter what your economic plight is, through the process of the kids going to college, through the process of weddings, you're going to be
Great.
But it's very difficult.
Yeah.
I did
so
that.
that's 2 people.
Yeah, I know. I didn't.
The other
Right.
100 or 200 million, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this might be the only person that I know who has done that. I didn't.
Done
do
what?
that. He was a disciplined saver from day one. Has been, and he's
It's an
now going,
occupational hazard.
and he's now going. And the kids have gone through college, and now he's going through the weddings phase. Okay. Whereas I didn't do that. But even then, there is a plan. But there's a couple conditions to it. If you think you're going to retire at 60 or 65, it ain't going to happen unless you have that discipline all through your early years. Otherwise, your time to really bank the money and save is after you're done with these weddings. You're done with the college. You're done with the weddings.
You got the
the overhead's finally gone.
Hopefully
and
the
then you've got
mortgage is
maybe
paid
10,
off. Yeah.
10, 15 years where you're just, the mortgage is paid off, where you're just throwing the money in the bank. That's the second opportunity.
Yeah.
And
you
if
should,
yeah.
because there's no more pensions anymore. The old days, you always had a pension. You didn't have to save a nickel, because as long as you lived within your monthly means. But now you got to do it yourself.
Well, and especially with the threat that they're going to cut Social Security on top of it, you have to independently save money to protect yourself and your family.
What do you think of the threat on? I mean, we're kind of off track, but what do you think of the threat on Social Security?
Here's what I think is going to happen.
I
think that it's going to be up to the Congress that has to face the actual problem. Every other Congress isn't going to fix the problem. They're going to keep kicking the can down the road.
What's the problem?
The problem is that the trust fund is going to run out of money.
No, what's the real problem? No, that's the reality. What's the problem?
The only way they're going to fix it is through increasing who's paying Social Security. They're going to have to eliminate the caps. And when they do that, the problem's fixed. But you don't want to be the senator that's eliminating the caps.
It's either eliminating the caps or keep bumping the age
problem
up.
is,
so all of a sudden you can't retire instead of, it was 66, now it's 67. It could get lowering the benefit is a tough one, because you're lowering the benefit while you have an inflationary time anyway, and you've paid in this money.
It's your money.
So
it's a politically tough one, but it's just mathematically.
But that's what they're talking about, lowering the benefit. It'd
Right.
be a 17 to 19% reduction in your anticipated benefits.
The only thing that I look at that I'm thankful for is I won't be covered by that.
You'll be
I'm
dead.
old enough. I mean, well, they're not going to make it effective on the people that are.
The voters
already
won't be
claiming.
voting for it. They'll
They're
kick the
no,
can down
that's
the
not
road.
necessarily a true statement. They're talking about reducing the benefits across the board because there won't be enough money to
What
write
they
the
need
check.
to do, though,
I know it's not going to happen, but that
They always talk this big.
You're
what they
gonna
need to
leave
do,
it-
though, is people are living so much longer. They have to extend the age, right? We started out, people did it at 62 because they died at 65, but now people are living to 100. So the life expectancy is so longer. They got to increase the age of full retirement.
They either have to increase the age, or like just said. Then again, if they're increasing the benefit, they're not necessarily taking the money away from you because of your life expectancy is longer. It's a tough one. But I don't think it's a panic button situation. Let's take a break, and then we're going to talk about Chapter 13.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
If your loved one is struggling with age-related issues, let our family help your family. Call Samasco Law now. We're family-owned and growing. Meet Joe Frizard and Kelsey Samasco, our newest superstars. We'll handle your issues with care, compassion, and dedication. At Samasco Law, we'll leave no stone unturned until your family is protected for the long term. We'll walk together. That's what families do. Samasco Law. Protect what matters.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Now we're back.
Let me go to that one last point, though. What Social Security, affecting Social Security is very, very difficult. But what they do is they increase the cost of Medicare. So your premiums go up, and they have the Medicare surcharge because that's a direct deduction off of Social Security. So they increase the cost of Medicare, which is easy, which is necessarily dropping that money that's staying in mom and dad's bank account every month.
Like for me, my increase in my Social Security was less than my increase in
Right.
the Medicare costs, so my net check went down.
You're not old enough to get Social Security and Medicare.
I have connections.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. I'm the one guy that is allowed to collect
You found the fountain of youth
full
is what it is.
70-year benefits at age 55.
Oh, very good. Disability.
You just have to figure out, but not disability. So, chapter 13.
Yep.
In the context, I want to, and it's early in the year, I want to throw it out there again, the 3-point retirement plan, which is kind of like what we were talking about before. How do you get there? Key points: own that home free and clear, have zero debt, and have some cash in the bank. If you can accomplish those 3 things, you can be in assuming we have Social Security as well, you can be in a position of comfort in retirement without worrying about being dependent on your children, without worrying about shelter, and having enough disposable income probably for some presents for the grandchildren and modest vacations along the way. That's an attainable goal if you can just make those 3 things happen. So, debt horizon in 2025. I want to kind of share that.
It's
I kind of did
bad.
some looking up.
It's bad.
Credit card bills are here now. You must be seeing this, Brian.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, they're high, they're out of control, and people are going, I can't afford them. In fact, there was just an article, and I can't remember the source, that said that more people, and it's like 7% more than a year ago, people who are carrying credit card debt are only paying the minimum monthly payment now.
Which makes them a revolver.
Yep, they are a revolver.
Which the credit card companies love, so that you keep paying money, the debt doesn't go down, and you're giving them juice at 24%.
And it is. It's 24%.
Uncle Sam,
and I'm
think
seeing
of him as
credit
a
cards,
loan shark.
Your regular credit cards, so a lot
It's
of
not
people are
Uncle
walking
Sam,
in
it's
are
the
coming
credit
in at 30%. And it's just outrageous.
The total debt is 1.17 trillion.
That was as of the end of the third quarter
Yeah.
of 2024. It's probably closer to 1.4 trillion right now as we speak.
Oh, because of the holidays.
Yeah.
And that was an 8.1% increase, which is big. 8,800 average amount of credit card debt. This one I thought was interesting. There's about 2 million people every year that ramp up their credit cards over $50,000. Because we always talk about what's a lot of credit card debt. Well, if you think about it, 2 million people, we only have 300 million people in the country. That's a lot of people with a lot of credit card debt.
I'm seeing people walking in the office with over $100,000 in
What
credit
age
card
would
debt.
you say that is? Is it spread out across the whole age group? Or
So the group that I see that has credit card debt in excess of $30,000+ is usually between 45 and 60. They are.
That's what I was going to
the moms and dads
Is
are
it
sort of
usually
getting,
individual credit or like business
Family
card?
expenses.
No, it's individual credit, and a lot of people, you'll see an extraordinary amount of credit card debt when you see people that are funding their businesses with credit cards because they can't, and they add the credit card debt to the SBA loan that they got, the EIDL loan that they got that they haven't paid back, and businesses are
Saddled to
cash poor right now, and the biggest problem is just everything's personally guaranteed by the borrower that owns the
I'm
business.
seeing a lot of that in the restaurant business right now, where clients are coming in and they took out the idle loans. So they got that $400,000 of debt to the SBA that they've personally guaranteed, which is the first lien on the assets of the business. And they needed that money during COVID to survive. And when they had that money, it was, it was certainly helpful. But now what they're left with is an industry that's not doing the numbers it was doing pre-COVID because food prices are so high, people are cutting back on eating out and dining out because it's so expensive. And they have this $3,000 to $5,000 a month debt burden that's killing them. And they're all coming in saying, how can I get rid of this?
And we can. The problem is that it takes two bankruptcies quite often. A Chapter 11 for the business, because it's its own entity, and a Chapter 13 for the individual. And so we can do that, but it's incredibly complicated, and it turns out, a lot of these people are facing the reality of having to close the business.
And even some of them that I'm encountering are the business is still doing okay, but it's not generating enough of an income for them to be comfortable. I mean, they're making $100,000 a year where they really need to be making $150,000 to be able to pay their bills. They have assets, so they're not a good candidate for bankruptcy. And the question is, what do they do? And one of the situations that I'm doing with a few clients is we're kind of taking the approach of saying, well, the business is stable, it's making money, get a manager and run it and keep paying the debt, and then you can take your individual asset of yourself and start a new venture, either a new business or get a job doing something, because you can't just keep going on this struggle where you're not making enough income to cover your household expenses.
That's a hard conversation.
It's a difficult situation.
Should have had that conversation 5 years earlier, 6 years earlier, when they just kept going.
Well, come on, but hindsight is 20/20.
It was impossible not to take that money when it was there. The other thing that they all want to know this is: the government going to cancel the idle debt because COVID was mismanaged by the government? They all come in with that mentality, particularly in the restaurant industry, which was really shut down. And I just don't see that happening.
No.
I say to them, I can't. The only thing I can tell you is the SBA does not have the manpower right now to collect the money. But I think they'll start farming it out to third parties and as a collection force. Let's take a break, and then we're going to apply the problem to how we solve it in Chapter 13.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. I want to announce THAV GROSS has opened a new office downriver in the Horizon Building on Eureka Road. So now we're in Flint, downriver, and also our home office in Bingham Farms. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. You can do it by Zoom conference, in the office, any way that works best for you. Just call 888-235-HELP or go to the website, thavgross.com, to sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business law issues, elder law issues with Pat or Kelsey, disability issues with Jeff Kirschner. Again, sign up at lawandreality.com or thavgross.com or just call 888-235-HELP. Also, if you go to the website, you'll see there's free reports. Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by Jeff Linden and myself. Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian Small. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure. Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan. And The Retiree's Guide to Social Security by Pat Simasko. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV Gross, Simasko Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
If your loved one is struggling with age-related issues, let our family help your family. Call Simasko Law now. We're family-owned and growing. Meet Joe Frizard and Kelsey Simasko, our newest superstars. We'll handle your issues with care, compassion, and dedication. At Simasko Law, we'll leave no stone unturned until your family is protected for the long term. We'll walk together. That's what families do. Simasko Law. Protect what matters.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
All right, we're back. So, last little statistic. Auto payments. To me, this is amazing. The average new car payment, third quarter 2024, $737.
Woo!
Used car payment, $520. My first house
How many
payment,
year, though? How
my
many
first
payment?
house payment was $813, included taxes and insurance.
What's the new length of a car loan? Is it still 3 years? It's
No,
got to be up to 5.
no,
6 years, probably.
You're looking
Oh
at
my
72
God.
months.
Yeah.
Oh,
There
my
are
God.
84 months.
But think
I-
about that. 737 is the average. Think
That
about
means-
all the
that means
non-luxury, low-budget
For every
cars.
$500 payment, there's a $900 payment.
Or more, $1,000 payment. You know, like you think of what you see, driving
This
around.
is why
It's crazy.
we're seeing a decline, and they're blaming the EV industry for the problems for the auto industry, but it's not. I don't see it as just being that. COVID ended, people had cash, they all bought these fancy these cars that they bumped up the prices, and they're all into these high expensive car payments. They can't get out of those car payments, or even if when it comes to the next car, they can't afford that kind of a car payment now, so they're stuck. And that's going to mean a decline in sales, even if we're back to gas guzzlers. So I don't see a good solution to that problem. So how do you solve it with Chapter 13, Brian?
So, all right. So if you look at the total debt burden that everybody has.
I just have one comment. I guess he wasn't going to be that much of the conversation.
No, I guess
because
not.
we're only giving him 4 minutes for Chapter
Yeah.
13.
If you look at the total debt burden that everybody's carrying and you prioritize what's the most important debt. Most important debt?
Attorney
to pay?
fees.
Yeah, right. Besides attorney fees is your house payment and your car payment. And then
Food.
after that, the IRS, if you owe the IRS or the state of Michigan, if you owe them. And then the least important debt is credit card debt. And so what Chapter 13 does is it prioritizes and pays that which is the most important first. And if there's anything left over at the end, it allows the credit cards to get
get paid.
something, hospital bills, credit cards. The key here is that
Attorney fees.
there's enough money usually when we're looking at a Chapter 13. If people didn't have and weren't carrying all that credit card debt, they could live, eat, sleep, breathe, and manage their lives. The process of Chapter 13 allows us to restructure everything, fix those mistakes. Like the mistake that people are making right now is, I'm going into a forbearance on my house. Okay, a forbearance means that they're not collecting your mortgage payment for 5 months. In the 6th month, you have to write a check for the 6 months that you haven't paid. So don't do a forbearance. A loan modification is probably a better opportunity. They tell you that they'll look at you for a loan modification, but then they'll put you right into foreclosure. So
How does Chapter 13 help with foreclosure?
it lets us take the 5-6 months that you're behind and stretch it out and pay it back over 60 months instead.
What's the key thing for a Chapter 13 that people need to
You
know? on a
have
house
to
foreclosure?
file the Chapter 13 before the foreclosure sale. If you file it afterwards, it didn't do you any good.
So if you've gotten that notice and the house is going to sale in 3 weeks,
you better be calling.
have to get in and get that case filed before it goes to sale.
Yeah, but these forbearance programs that are out there right now are terrible. I had a client yesterday came in and they're like, what do we do? I'm like, well, fortunately, I can put you into a Chapter 13. And we're paying nothing back on their credit cards, 0. The house is being reorganized, restructuring the car, and keeping them living, eating, sleeping, breathing, and in their environment for themselves and their kids. The other choices is a lot of people are putting their houses up for sale right now, but there's no place to move to.
Right.
Right? They say there's more equity in homes right now than there has ever been.
But where do you go?
Where do you
Right.
go? You're going into an apartment that costs you more money than the mortgage payment cost you on the house. It looks like an easy solution. Sell the property and pay your debt. But if you're going to sell the property and pay your debt, you might want to take advantage of Chapter 13 to restructure and keep your house, or take advantage of an opportunity to do a workout or debt resolution to
Hey,
settle your debts.
Let me, if we have time, maybe we do another show on this. I've been reading all about the Florida condo market down there, and
I've
everything's crashing because
Yeah,
of
big time.
the condo fees and the homeowners insurance.
You
and all
can't get
that stuff.
homeowners insurance anymore.
Well, the point is
even
the-
houses are the whole Florida market. They're saying
Yeah,
is
the
depressed.
value of the condos are really dropping. And I'm focused on condos because I have a house down there, and I'm praying to God that it doesn't go down on the houses. But that's going to be a big topic in the next, so long, because of what do you do when the condo's underwater? You can't get rid of it.
The homeowners insurance problem, California, the whole Southwest, Florida, is just getting. It's going to
Well,
keep going
California's
out
on
of
fire.
control.
So, but I mean, it's all ridiculous, and we're lucky in Michigan. We still have reasonable homeowners
Did you
insurance
see?
rates.
I saw my homeowners
And
insurance
only
really
tornadoes.
bump up. Obviously, it's a result of their losses on other things because I haven't made any
Ours in
claims.
Florida, it really went up too.
But
But the
yeah, so-
point is, what do you do when you're trying to get out? You can't sell your place, you're underwater.
Again, a Chapter 13 might be
That's
an
right.
opportunity. A Chapter 7 might be an opportunity. The thing is if you're facing those type of problems, make sure that you come in and have them evaluated before you tip off the cliff.
What's happening?
Don't
Are
let
the-
the house,
are the
don't let the house go to
solutions-
foreclosure.
Are
That's
the
last thing you
solutions
do.
individual to the individual?
They are indeed individual.
what's
And on
happening
that
with student loan-
note, we'll put Jeff Linden on pause till next week's show. Have a great week, and thanks for watching Law and Reality.